Did you know that Conservation Corps Newfoundland and Labrador has been around for 25 years in our province? On this special 25th anniversary episode of EcoVision, we're taking a look at some of the great work that Conservation Corps does with our province's environment, culture, and communities. Conservation Corps Newfoundland and Labrador offers youth aged 16 to 30 paid employment opportunities.
This summer I've worked with the Green Team and I've improved so many of my skills, my communication skills, leadership skills, organizational skills. I also feel that being a part of your community and doing work in your community is very important. It helps you get to know people and do your part to make your community the best it can be.
My experience with the Green Team has been really great. It's been the best experience I've ever had with a job.
Working with this program, you get experience that you probably wouldn't get anywhere else. And I think that a lot of the things that you learn working with the Green Team, you can definitely use that in the future.
Through our Green Team, ECHO, and internship employment programs, there's a place for youth of all backgrounds at CCNL.
So right now I'm studying textile arts at the Anne Center, and I'd love to go on to do an Indigenous visual arts program somewhere else in Canada. So it's really interesting to get to be able to connect this job with my culture, and it's really just made me more excited to go on and do that.
So I'm a fourth-year student up at Grenfell. I'm studying environmental studies, and this job really links in with what I'm studying, and it's great to be working in my field.
So I'm a student right now at the Western Regional School Nursing in Corner Park with Memorial University, and I kind of feel that working with kids is something that I'll definitely do down the line in my career as a nurse, and not even just working with kids, just working with kids, parents, other people here too, and learning how to communicate effectively. I think that's also going to be a big part of what I do in the future.
CCNL works hard to offer youth training and experience that will help enhance overall employability and offer youth new and valuable skill sets for the future.
This Green Team experience will really help you, and especially for your future job. I just got an interview and they were so impressive from my Green Team experience, and it's really helped and they loved it.
My favorite part of working on the Green Team is knowing what it feels like to have a real job, have to get up every morning and have something important to do every day, something you have to be on time for. It's probably the biggest thing for me.
I would definitely recommend the Green Team program to anybody who's interested in being outside and working in teams and being involved with the community, because it gives you great experience with basically anything you might need in the future. So I highly recommend it.
I would definitely recommend the Green Team to anyone who is interested in it. It's such a supportive and empowering environment, and I've had such a great summer with everyone.
And for me, the biggest thing that I've learned is that you can never stop learning. The people you work with every day teach you lessons and teach you skills that you might not already have in your skill set. So for me, it's a pretty unique experience that way.
Working with a diverse group of partners, CCNL is able to offer needed and meaningful employment opportunities that benefit both the youth and the host communities.
Our experience with the Green Team here at the Friendship Center has been awesome. Our team has been so hardworking and just so friendly. All of the community members and staff, everyone loves them. They've been really working hard to help the community as best as they can, and they've been doing an excellent job.
Matching up with the Green Team and Conservation Corps was sort of a perfect marriage. And so what that allows us to do is look at our own priorities as a community and as a nation, and then embrace the assistance of another organization that has similar ideas or ideals, and kind of getting some youth involved and getting out there and working on relevant projects.
It makes a big difference to our community centre and to our neighbourhoods. Just getting out and, you know, providing employment to youth is huge. We have some youth in our neighbourhood and from the Mayorstown area and Bjorn area who's looking for employment. This provides them with excellent work experience and exposure to a number of different projects that they wouldn't normally get involved with over the summer.
When youth work with CCNL, they find more than simply a job. They become part of a movement of youth and communities working together to make a difference in our province.
I like making a difference in the community, and where our community is so small, like everyone recognizes you making a difference and doing things in the community, so you really get recognized for what you're doing with the Green Team this summer.
This job meant pretty much everything to me. It was definitely the best job I've ever had, and it totally made my summer, and I couldn't believe it when I got the call that I got it.
This is my first summer in Canada, and it's my first job, and I really love my job.
Mostly it's an employment opportunity for youth, and not only are you learning valuable skills, you're also doing it for a greater cause. So there's nothing better than that.
I loved working here. It was my first job and my most favorite job. I loved it.
With all these awesome youth employment projects, I bet you probably even know somebody who's worked for Conservation Corps. In fact, I got my start with the Green Team program back in 2011. Next up, we brought in some of the youth who've previously worked for Conservation Corps for a climate change youth panel. We wanted to hear their thoughts on climate change and how it's affecting our planet. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Jessica Madden. I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator at Conservation Corps Newfoundland and Labrador, and I'm here today with some of our province's youth to chat about climate change, and we're going to get their insights on the matter. So hi guys, thanks so much for joining me here today. I have Anika, Paul, and Jen. If you just want to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Anika Bursey. I'm a fourth year student at Memorial, and I'm studying geography.
My name is Paul Hawley. I'm a second year student at Memorial University, and I'm studying kinesiology.
And my name is Jen Crow, and I was a political science student here at Memorial University, and I just graduated with my master's in public administration.
So guys, I'm just going to ask you a couple questions then about climate change, just to hear your thoughts on the matter. I'm going to start off by asking you, Anika, what is climate change and why do you think it's happening?
So climate change is, in my view, the changes in like the statistical averages that our planet sees in terms of weather patterns. So like that would be like anything like more flooding in areas that normally were drier, or drought in areas that experience more water. So yeah, any changes in that are like dramatic, that warming in areas that are colder.
Great, yeah. All right, guys, so my next question is, does climate change scare you? Is it something that, you think about and it makes you frightened about our future?
Yeah, like, I think that, for me at least, like, what scares me the most is, like, the magnitude and the rate that it's happening. Mm-hmm. Like, when I was in junior high and elementary school, climate change kind of first really was a common topic. Mm-hmm. And it's like since then, like the amount of things that I've seen, even just in the past year, with the amount of hurricanes that have happened this fall alone, like that to me is terrifying. Mm-hmm. And then like just recently, I'm sure you guys have seen the National Geographic video of that polar bear.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, it's like it really puts it into perspective, because you don't always see it right outside your front door, but when you see stuff like that, or like last summer in Australia, cars like melted because it was so hot. Like that's what scares me, and I feel like it's important for me to like talk about those fears with people. Like I just think that the more that you can like talk about it with people, gets the conversation starting. I think it's really important.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely agree, like in terms of like, I remember being in junior high and watching like Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth and being like, we can turn this all around, like, it's not too late. And now I feel like it's like, okay, we're almost at a point of no return in terms of, you know, we have to be taking proactive and reactive approaches to climate change. So absolutely, there's tons of things that we can do to be preventing climate change from getting to a point where it's completely unmanageable. But at the same time, we're also reacting to, you know, tropical storms, to rising sea levels, to all of these different aspects of climate change. So for me, that's kind of the scary part, is like, okay, so, you know, while we need to continue to be proactive, we also need to react to, you know, our world and how it's changing in a very scary way.
I definitely agree. What are some of the ways that you think Newfoundlanders and Labradorians can tackle climate change every day in their own lives? And you spoke about plastic bags and how, you know, we don't need them and we just replace them with reusable bags. What are some other things that you, as youth, think that we can do every day to kind of do our own thing to tackle climate change?
I think a big thing is recycling, not just bottles and cans, but anything that you really can recycle. Closing those loops to make a more circular movement of any commodity, I think is really important. So whether that's like composting, you know, that's easy for everyone to do. And you know what, even if you don't use that compost, maybe donate it to a local community garden, something like that. Like, it's little things, I think, that we don't realize that we can actually do. Looking at your daily life and saying, like, what is it I'm doing that I could potentially reuse? Yeah. And it doesn't have to stick to the standard plastic bottle thing, because I think that's where, like, a lot of people kind of, like, when they think recycling, they think, you know, pop cans, you know? There's so many other things that we recycle that we don't even realize it.
Yeah, you can be like really conscious of that stuff, and like, yeah, that should definitely be more something that the public is always aware of. You know, what can we recycle? What can we do? I think that if we're going to think about, like, you know, the state that Newfoundland is, like, what Newfoundland is, we look at St. John's. St. John's is a really automobile-oriented city. I mean, we have the Outer Ring Road, we have, like, I live in Mount Pearl, so I drive like 12 kilometers to get to Mon, right? So, you know, I'm not gonna bike to Mon. I'm not gonna spend like an hour in the morning biking to Mon. I mean, around town, like in the summertime, yeah, you can bicycle wherever you want, right? And that's why, like, some parts of the city have bike lanes. But, you know, if we're gonna, like, make the best of what we have, you know, considering that, you know, St. John's is a city that's, like, I guess outside of downtown, really. It's a city that's built for driving around in cars. Like, we have to consider that carpooling really helps. You don't need to have, like, you know, 5 different friends driving 5 different cars who live right next to each other in the morning time. That's just something that we can do that, you know, really kind of has to do with the way that our city is. I mean, if we live in Vancouver or something like that, I mean, that's a huge city for cyclists and stuff, but we don't live in Vancouver. We have to take advantage of what we have, do things the most efficient way. And, you know, public transit and stuff like that. I mean, we take advantage of that system that we have in our city, right? And there are a lot of things that, things like that people can really start using, because, you know, we don't see that as much as we should.
And they're there for people to use, right? So,
yeah.
And they save you a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
And it would be reducing your own carbon footprint so much.
Exactly.
It's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for your time here today. We really appreciate it. You guys, I feel very hopeful about the future of our province if we have youth like yourselves here thinking about climate change and taking action to tackle it. So thanks so much for being here with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have some pretty impressive young people right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. At Conservation Corps, we're committed to supporting youth who share our values of community leadership, environment, and culture. In 2017, we launched the Adele Poynter Memorial Award, which supports a youth who shares these values too. Take a look.
I'm Alex Hayward. I'm working on the Mount Pearl Green Team this summer. Well, I've lived in Mount Pearl my whole life, and so I went to high school here, and I was part of the Environment Club, and as a group of concerned youth, we went to the City Council here in Mount Pearl, and we asked them to sign a declaration saying that all citizens have the right to a healthy environment, which they did sign, and so basically that's a part of the Blue Dot movement, which is a movement that the Dave Suzuki Foundation started. And it has the goal of basically changing the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms to include the right to a healthy environment. So basically, like, Canadians need to change the way that they interact with and value nature, and it has to start at a local level, and community gardens are, like, you know, they're a perfect example of what the right to a healthy environment means, and because people can finally see that what they're putting into their bodies is actually coming right from the earth, and at the same time community gardens are like reducing our ecological footprint so much. I mean, there's no need to be importing so much food from long distances, like not only for food security issues, but also because of like huge amounts of carbon emissions that come from it, when we can actually grow so much right here in Newfoundland. Being a part of this and getting to work as a part of this project and this kind of positive development in the community, it's definitely an honor. I'm so grateful.
Congratulations again to Alex Hayward, the first winner of CCNL's Adele Poynter Memorial Award. Does this award sound like it would be a good fit for you or somebody you know? You can visit us online at ccnl.ca and get all the details there. Next up, we're going to be sharing a story of a veteran from our province who served in the First World War. As a part of CCNL's cultural programming, we collected stories from across the province about different veterans and the roles that they did. Let's check out the story of Newfoundland hero Tommie Ricketts.
Hi, my name is Nick, and I'm going to tell you the story about Thomas Ricketts. So Thomas Ricketts was my great-great-great-grandfather's first cousin, and he was part of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment in Belgium. So in Belgium, they were advancing, and they came under heavy fire from German guns. So Thomas Ricketts and his section commander, after the Royal Newfoundland Regiment received heavy casualties, they decided to push ahead and try to outflank the guns. About 100 yards away from the guns, they ended up running out of ammunition, and the German forces, seeing this, decided to pull their guns away to save their equipment. Now, Thomas realized that this was a situation that was pretty dire, so he ran back, he procured some ammo, and he ended up, with very accurate fire, ending up pushing the German forces into a farmhouse. And because they were in this farmhouse, they weren't able to fire their guns because they weren't set up, and they were captured, and I think 4 guns were captured as well. So they kind of won the day in that sense, and that's why he received the Victoria Cross. Now, the really interesting thing about Thomas Ricketts is that, he was a 17-year-old who was summoned to the king to receive his Victoria Cross in a private ceremony. And the king proclaimed in this private ceremony that he was the youngest VC in the army, which was true. There were younger VCs who had died and received it posthumously, but Thomas was the youngest VC in the king's army. And what was very interesting about that is that the oldest VC was also there when he was receiving his Victoria Cross medal. And I think that was a very special moment for him and for a lot of different people, especially for Newfoundland in general. Because who would have thought that this guy from Newfoundland would have received a Victoria Cross for his actions in the war, but he proved that he could, and that he could surmount any challenge. What I really find to be the most interesting about Thomas Ricketts is not that he received a Victoria Cross. It's just the kind of community-mindedness that he has throughout his life. He was a pharmacist, which is a community-driven kind of employment, and the fact that he, decided to go away for war when he was very clearly underage is, it speaks a lot about what he cares about, his country and his community. And that's kind of what I've always been infatuated with the story.
What a beautiful story. To hear the rest of CCNL's World War I commemorative stories, visit us online at ccnl.ca and check out the page called World War 100. Next up, we're moving on to something a little different, water conservation. This year, CCNL launched a water conservation program to help teach people how they can make small changes to their routine that can save a lot of water and make a big difference for our planet. Let's take a look. Do you want to know something shocking? Canadians are using the second most water in the world, behind only the United States. And within Canada, can you guess who's using the most water at home? That's right, it's us right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And with Newfoundlanders and Labradorians using so much more water than everybody else, there has to be something that we can be doing differently. Let's check in with good friend of the Corps and our own Water Resources and Conservation Coordinator, Katie Power. She might have some tips for us, and I'm gonna see if she's home.
Oh, good morning, Steph. What's up? What's with the camera?
I was hoping we could chat for a few minutes.
Oh, well, I'm kind of busy, but...
I just learned how much water people in Newfoundland and Labrador are using compared to everybody else.
Oh, say no more? Come on in.
Oh, thanks. So, we're using so much water here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Do people know this?
You know what? Not many people do. I didn't until recently.
The average Canadian is using about 225 liters a day. But here in Newfoundland and Labrador, we're using about 630 liters a day. That's almost triple. How is that even possible?
Well, you know, there's lots of potential reasons why, but let's take a look right here at home at where we're using the most water. 65% of at-home water use occurs in the washroom. So let's start there.
Great. And I heard Conservation Corps gave out these water-saving kits. Anything in there to help us save water in the bathroom?
Of course.
Great. Okay, so now that we're in here, where do people use the most water in the bathroom?
Oh, baths and showers for sure. Baths are great, don't get me wrong, but filling up a tub can use around 150 liters of water. That's a lot of hot water.
And a lot of hot water would mean a lot of energy use. And that would drive up our heat bills, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Plus, a 10-minute shower with a low-flow shower head only uses around 60 liters of water, so there's lots of potential for savings there.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so do you know any ways to get kids on board with this water-saving stuff too?
Yeah, absolutely. We have these shower timers here, which can remind us exactly how long we're spending in the shower, which will hopefully cut down on the length of time we spend in there.
Oh, that's so cool. Great.
Yeah. It's kind of like that message that pops up on Netflix checking in to see if you're still watching after your 5th episode in a row of Stranger Things. Of course I'm still watching, but now that you've shamed me into realizing that, there are some other things I could be doing.
Oh man, Stranger Things was so good.
Love those kids.
Okay, so let's talk about the faucets. The tip that I always hear is to turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth.
Yeah, that's a great one. Very easy to do. It might take a bit of time to form the habit, but after a while you won't even notice it.
That's wicked. And is there anything else we can do, without really noticing?
Yeah, definitely. We have these low-flow faucet aerators too, and they're very easy to install. And then you can save water every time you use the tap.
Okay, great. So I know that every time we flush the toilet, that uses water too. Do all toilets use the same amount of water per flush?
Actually, no. You can get low flow volume toilets as well that save water every time you flush. If you don't have one of those, you can get a toilet tank bag instead.
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so let's talk about in the run of a year, if you have one of these water-saving toilets, how much water would it save versus if you used a regular toilet?
Yeah, with one of these low-flow toilets, you can save around 20,000 liters of water a year just from flushing.
Whoa!
I know.
Okay, that's a lot of water saving for the bathroom. Where else can we save water in the house?
That'd be the kitchen. Let's go.
All right. Oh, using a bowl to wash your veggies instead of letting the tap run. Smart.
You got it.
Can I have a glass of water?
Sure.
Where are you going? The sink is right over here.
Oh, keeping a jug of water in the fridge saves from having to let the tap run while you're waiting for the water to cool down.
Oh, great tip.
No sweat. There you go.
Thanks. And what about when you're on the go, outside of the home?
Well, for every 1 liter of bottled water, it requires around 3 liters of water to produce it. So you should definitely use this instead.
Oh, deadly, thanks.
No sweat.
All right, well, I better get going.
Okay, come on, I'll show you out.
Well, thanks for having me, Katie. I was in a bit of a panic when I first came over, but I feel so much better now that I know all these great ways to save water. Should have been doing this all along.
Oh yeah, no sweat. Now you know, right?
All right, catch you next time. See ya.
See ya.
Oh, hey Polly, what's up? That reminds me, what's the best time of day to water your lawn or garden?
Oh, Polly's got the right idea. Stick to the mornings or late evenings. The sun evaporates way less water at those times, so more will end up in your garden.
Oh, perfect. All right, guys, well, I'm off to breakfast. See you next time.
See ya.
Before we go, stay tuned for one last segment coming up for you. Thanks for tuning in to this special episode of EcoVision, all about Conservation Corps Newfoundland and Labrador.